Good day. It's a new day. So let's make it a great day.
What's
Welcome to
happening?
Brothas Crossing. I am Roro. I'm here with my brothers Nando and Cov. We want to thank you for choosing us and joining us. But before I get started, I want to make sure that you click like for this video and you also click subscribe. We would love to have you subscribe and we'll produce more shows for you. So, gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Doing really well. Played golf today.
That's always a good day.
Oh, sorry. It's on this side.
Did you
I,
play the Masters? You act like you played the Masters.
no, but when I go to the Masters next year, I'll probably get another T-shirt and another hat and other stuff that I really don't need.
You
Okay,
probably need multiple shirts and multiple hats since we have multiple shows.
that's right.
I mean, I heard
And you should look out for the brothers.
I will be taking lists
Right?
when I go, and be payment will be due upon receipt. Just throwing that out there. Any
All
of the
right.
viewers that are going to the Masters, check me, and I'll see
Yeah.
you.
Just to make sure that everybody knows you're going, when is the Masters next year?
It's in April. I know we have tickets to the Tuesday practice round. So anybody that's got tickets to the Tuesday practice round, my brother and I, will see you there.
Nice.
Bells ringing.
Yeah, hit the comments. Let him know you're going.
Yeah, tell me you're going.
um, Again, a lot of stuff happened around the world. So, what's today's tidings, Nando? What's your today's tidings?
Well, I didn't get a chance to turn on but yesterday, the Cincinnati Brawl has a new narrative. The narrative originally was there was a gang of people started ganging up on two or three different individuals. Four of them ended up getting arrested. So you're thinking, okay, now more of the story has now come out that the Caucasian individuals, are the ones that started it. So supposedly the two groups started beefing. Two gentlemen came in between them, told them to calm it down, try to de-escalate it. One was white, one was black, trying to de-escalate the situation. And then something after that, one of the Caucasians individuals decided to get hyped up again, and he started striking somebody else. Well, that's where the brawl happens. And I think I talked about this last week, that the brawl went a little too far. You don't just beat when somebody's already down. This isn't Gladiator. This is
Right?
in 1800s where you continue to plummet somebody because you could be going to jail. Well, those four individuals, they got arrested. The Caucasian individual's going through his lawyer. The lawyer's not letting the cops talk to him. He's not arrested. So I'm not trying to make this into a race issue. It's just letting you know, where's the fairness here? If he's the one who started it, he's the one who slapped it, why is he going through his lawyer talking about it versus in jail like the other four individuals that they already have in jail? So the police chief, who was all talking about social media, haven't heard a peep from her. So now all of a sudden, I'm just waiting to hear what the next levels are.
Well, I
I
mean,
know. I
it's
think I heard he slapped another person who wasn't even like the one that he was engaged with.
Correct. He wasn't
well,
even in the conversation.
with all that, it's the difference between having the means to have a lawyer and not having the means to
Right.
have a lawyer.
Yep.
Sure, the other
Yep.
guys are all public defender guys. That's the difference. I got
Yeah.
money, enough money. I can get me a lawyer and let him work the process.
Yeah. You know me. Like I said last week, I hate seeing fights at music events. It just makes no sense to me. But
Well, what
maybe
about
maybe I,
sporting
maybe it's a
events
little
too?
hippie in me or
You see
something.
him at sporting events too.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
only
I
Those
at
can see
guys
the
Raider.
slugging it out in football. I mean, come on.
That's only at Raider games. We know how Raider fans are. Please make the comment and
That's
tell me
right.
you're not a Raider fan.
We will not be getting any sponsorship from the Las
Yeah.
Vegas Raiders after that. No, I mean, I've seen them at other games. I mean, people just need to maintain control. I mean, come on.
Control.
I mean,
Enjoy the moment. Enjoy
Judas.
the moment. All right, Cub, what you got? What's your
Well,
tidings
I
for
mean,
today?
I don't. I don't want to get political or anything, but I thought it was interesting that, if you're the person that brings bad news to the boss, you could be fired. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics woman, she got fired. Here's the bad jobs numbers, and oh, by the way, we had to revise the other ones down by about 250 plus thousand. And so the last 3 months of job growth goes back to the days of COVID, 3 months in a row that were horrible. So, you give me the bad news, you're
Yeah,
out. So as
that was a lot of jobs. I don't
as a
know.
lot,
Yeah,
as Rower said,
some of the,
and whatever you do, just make sure you're positive at the end. You know, it'll
I
get
was
better.
like,
It'll get better.
how are we into like in today's society and we got to revamp numbers? I'm like, it's got to be some technology that can capture that pretty easily.
Well, once they get more data from all the employers, that's why there's always the revisions. But I would be interested to know, I mean, how do they come up with that first number? Some of it's got to be made, there's got to be some assumptions made, and then have to go back and revise, especially as big as they had to revise it. I mean,
Yeah,
big numbers, but
yeah,
anyway, I
Well,
thought that was,
the thing you have to keep in perspective is your boss. Your boss goes with the first numbers, and he's going out there advertising, "I'm doing this,
yeah,
I'm doing
pushing, we're
that, I'm
great,
doing
rah,
that."
rah.
And
Yep.
now the person who did those numbers come back saying, "Oops, I made you look
By
like
the
an
way,
idiot because the numbers are off."
yeah, yeah. That could be a problem, but it's not a new problem. Let's just say it's not a
you
new
know,
problem. It's
it's
happened forever.
been going on for decades. You get a number,
Yeah.
there's always a revision. Sometimes it's revised up.
Yep.
We just
Yep.
have to be, the opposite way, but
Yeah. Well, my tidings today has to do with sports, and it's this whole trend of professional athletes, former and even current athletes, becoming GMs of college programs. So, for example, I read today like Damian Lillard is now a GM of basketball for Weber State, where he went to. Steph Curry's a GM for Davidson. Shaq is for like Sacramento State, and I would say like who else was there?
well, but he's
There
not an active player anymore.
but still, I guess what I'm trying to figure out, because there's a guy from the Raiders, Crosby. He's actually the assistant GM for Eastern Michigan football. Like, I don't even know what that means. What it was it?
Is it like an honorary title, or are they like active?
No, but I no. What I was reading is that it's actually a active job where the average salary is between $100,000 and $400,000
What?
just to be yeah, just to be the GM.
I
What they're
could be a
doing is
GM.
they're gonna promote the program. They're gonna like try to you know give guidance to the players. But most of all, I think it's more about trying to attract players, especially in this era of NIL transfer portal thing that's going on. They
That's
want to try
probably
to
more of it, because I
yeah
can't imagine they're an active day-to-day operation. I think you probably hit the nail on the head there. It's more of a marketing tool.
yeah. So Nando, you could be GM or something, right?
No, I don't think any of my previous schools would want me as a GM with the type of people I would bring in there. They're still thinking of me as that same person who went to school there, and they're like, "Yeah, no, Mr. Jackson, no, we don't need that."
Like, are we still looking for your tuition bill?
Well, no, my tuition bill was paid. They were like, "You ain't getting a diploma unless you pay your tuition," so that was paid.
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
think all the other students who I graduated with would love to have me there, but yeah, I don't think the teachers and would want
That's
that to
funny.
happen.
But it's an interesting thing to watch. I think you're going to see a lot more people do it, but it's kind of just like a marketing ploy to me.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad, but you know, us as Brothers Crossing, we always like to try to pass down knowledge. So I'm not afraid. I'm not against the players trying to pass down knowledge if that's what their role is. But we'll see. We'll see how it evolves. So today's show is the title is "So You Want to Be 25." Would you rather be 25 in 1995 or 25 in 2025? And so to get this concept of would you rather be um, going, I'm going to ask you some gentlemen some questions. and you're gonna give me the answer, and you'll get the flavor for what we're gonna talk about. So we'll start with Nando. Nando, your question is: would you rather be a stunt double or an understudy?
Do we have the answer of neither?
No, no, it is not that. You gotta have an opinion.
Well, it's all based off of money. And if you're looking at the money aspect of it, an understudy isn't going to be getting paid that much because it's just sitting there waiting for the main one to break a leg, get sick, get COVID, or something like that. Now, the stunt double is probably making a nice little bank, $500,000 to $1 million, because it has to exert its body, throw its body out there, get injured, and trying to be like that. And they'll be like, that was a bad take. Jump out the plane again with no parachute. You're like, what?
So
But you're getting
you
paid a
don't think
lot
the
more money.
understudy might eventually have a star role, and
Nah,
you'd
it'll
still
take
be
too
doing
long.
stunt
No,
doubles for
it'll
the
take too long.
understudy?
It'll take too long as an understudy because what is the definition of an understudy? A person who is going to come in when the main person can't do it. So if you're always an understudy, yeah, you're collecting a nice little paycheck, but it's not as big as you would, in my mind, as a stunt double.
Okay, we'll take that answer. Cub, would you rather forget the words to the national anthem when performing on national television, or fall on your way to accepting a Grammy?
I'll trip 5 times for a Grammy. I don't care. I'm cool with that. You know.
But you ain't gonna blow. You ain't gonna do the Rosie O'Donnell uh, national anthem, huh?
No, well, you remember who else did that back in the night? Listeners might have to correct me on this. Late '80s or early '90s was Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, it was a Roseanne Barr. I'm sorry. I got my
Did you say Rosie
Rosie's
O'Donnell?
mess. Yeah, I said Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah,
My
that was,
bad, Rosie.
and
Wrong.
that did not go over well at all.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
I would rather stumble, trip, flip, face plant while I'm picking up my Grammy
Well, go get your Grammy.
all day and Sunday.
All right, Nando, we're coming back to you with more of a sports related question. Would you rather play basketball against a team of human sized tarantulas or bears? That's like
Well, that's really an easy answer. Being a Green Bay Packer owner and
you
cheesehead,
know where you're
it
going.
turns out that I want nothing to do with the Bears because you know why? The Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. So I would not want to do
I'm sorry,
anything with
Bears
the
fans.
Bears. I'm going with the tarantulas.
All right, I'm with that one. I'm gonna go with the Cub. Here's one. Would you rather compete against your best friend in a championship game or your sibling?
Oh, before he answers
It
that
doesn't
question,
matter. It
before he
doesn't
answers
matter.
before he answers
Yeah.
that question, you should probably clarify it whether it's baseball or golf, because then I think
He
he might
don't
have a
care.
different answer.
I don't care. I mean, Ro knows me well enough. I'm super competitive, and I just want to step on your neck. I don't care who it is.
Well, you gotta pick one. Give me one.
It doesn't. I'll take either one. Either one. It doesn't matter to me. It
Who do
does
you want to
not matter.
embarrass the most? Who do you want
What's
to
Yeah,
that?
embarrass the most?
who would you want to embarrass the most?
It's not about embarrassing. It's just what great coach said. You play the game to win. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You play the game
Oh,
to win.
Herm Edwards, huh?
Herm
He went.
Edwards.
He's
So
playing
everything
to
else
win.
doesn't matter. You're playing. It doesn't matter what you're playing. You're playing golf. You're playing tennis. When I played tennis for 20 plus years, I played to win. I didn't care who I was playing against.
Okay,
So
we got one more each for each of you. This one's more in the technology area. So, Nando, come to you. Would you rather have your parents track your every move or not own a cell phone?
That is so easy. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and we were doing stuff, beep, that wasn't supposed to be telegraphed or pictured at all. I will be happy not to have a cell phone.
Not to
I
have
think
a cell phone.
yeah, I'll be like, week.
Passwords.
Why?
Well, because people know who. I mean, you
Are
change your
you?
name every week. People aren't going to know who you are, and they can follow you. You change your passwords, which you probably should do that anyway. Yeah.
That's true. I guess that
Computer
was pretty
geeks
easy.
out there trying to hack everything and steal all your shit. I mean, come on.
Okay. All right.
Well,
All right.
hold on, Mr. Railroad. You can't get out of this segment without you answering one question. Would you rather have a bald spot like Captain Steubing or no facial hair?
No facial hair. I'd rather have no. I could go do it right now. If our listeners challenge me, put it in the comments. I'll go no facial hair.
So this is kind of a bet. So with our great number of listeners, what is the number that it has to be for you to say, I'm going to do it? Does it have to be three? Does it have to be five? Does it have to be more than 10? Give us a number to see how many people chime in for you to shave it
I'd
all
say
off.
20 at this point.
Okay.
20 people. Hey, that's actually right.
He,
even even the dog
he's
agrees.
barking with excitement.
He's like, I can't wait. I can't wait for Railroad to do it. All right, so we're going to the topic of the day. Like I said, the topic of the day is so you want to be 25. Would you rather be 25 in 1995 or 25 in 2025? And so we'll still keep in order. Nando, I mean, I don't know where you stand on it. What will be your vote, and then we can get into
I mean,
conversation.
95 was nice, simpler terms, simpler society that we have. We were just getting into technology. We had all of we're understanding what a computer was. We're sitting here looking at MTV, music video. It was simpler then and easier. But I would say being 25 in 2025, because you have the technology that gives you the aspect of being a millionaire with using chat GBT and other things within a year. So with more at our disposal technology wise, it makes it a little easier to make that money than we did in 90 when we were in 1995. In 1995, we enjoyed the moment. We were doing stuff that wasn't on Facebook, wasn't on Instagram, that everybody was having a good time. It was wholesome. It was great. But I'm an aspect of looking at money. So I would say 2025 would be my vote based off of technology.
All right, Kav. That face tells me everything right here. that
I
face
would
tells.
much rather be 25 in 1995
Uh-oh. Give me a get.
all day. I mean, couple financial things. It was cheaper to buy a house.
Yeah.
You could buy a house. I'll tell listeners. We had our first house built in 1995, and we paid just over $103,000 for this house in Arizona. 103,000. You can't. There's nothing out there today for
No.
that. And
No.
and we did it with our incomes back then. We weren't rich and wealthy by any stretch, but you could still qualify for a house. You could buy a house. Um, that's like the biggest point. Was
Yeah.
affordability of things, homes, and everything else. Technology's great, but you know what? Until we had it, we got along without it.
You know, I hear your aspect. I hear your conversation. I think I'm side with Nando on this one. I think 2025.
Of course.
And the reason is like because if at 25 you're at that age where you're still young, but you're at that age where you should be probably finding your career or being adult like, right? But like like Nando said, is like we they have today have more access to, you don't have to work as hard as we did to get back in 1995-ish area than we do today. And so, yes, if the only aspect is that you couldn't buy a house, but salaries are double, even though the cost of living, salaries are about, if you're 25 years, they said the average salary is about 28 in 1995, and it's about 56 in 2025 for 2020 for 25-year-olds. The other things is, I would say, dating is different, but it's easier. Again, you have a access to you have access to
But
more
it's
people. You have access to more people.
you're still talking about technology.
Yes.
I'm talking about when we were young, when we were 25 and 95. Technology was internet was just kind of getting there, but you were still out there figuring shit out. You had a phone book. If you didn't know something, you looked in the phone book, or you figured it out.
He
Just
said a
didn't pick
phone
up
book.
your phone and type in and get an answer. It's a learning thing. You have that knowledge that you're gaining, and I think wisdom comes with it, but it's just too easy today.
What if I would
Yeah,
say
there's
going
nothing
the
wrong with
date?
it, but it's just easier.
I
What's
think
that?
it's easy, but at 25, don't you want it easy? Didn't you want it easy at 25? You didn't want it
But but
hard.
but it's all relative. We thought it was easy. We thought it was easy. You have to look. You're looking back in hindsight, like how it was, because we know what we know today. It doesn't matter. You know today. I just think trying to like formulate my thought here.
See, you got that
But I
1995
think,
thinking still.
you hear the gears grinded. But I think living back then with what I know now, I think times were easier. I think, the path to figure stuff out was not as easy as in today. But, there's a little pride in how we got to be able to figure stuff out. And it doesn't matter what you were figuring, just living life every day. I think it was simpler. Now everything is so much busier for a 25-year-old today, dealing with everything they have to deal with today and social media and all of this crap. They have more pressure on them today than 30 years ago. So I'm in
Yeah.
95. I mean, my head is stuck in the 80s. You can ask my wife or people that work with me musically and everything else. I just think it was a simpler time, and we need to go back to it in some
No,
respects.
I think, and Nando, you could jump in here, but I think it's simpler, like you said, from a technology standpoint. They have access to everything. Like instead, when we were growing up, I'm going back to the dating thing. So if you're growing up in wherever you grew up, is okay. You had to date the girls in your area, like literally, like it within
Yeah,
this rate. But
yeah.
now,
That was your playing field.
but now the playing field is so much more expanded with technology, and so it doesn't. It makes it difficult to decipher, but it's a swipe right, swipe left, and you got access
Well,
to
but
all.
you've lost your interpersonal skills getting out there and dealing with people face to face. People get rejected. The swipe right or swipe, whatever that shit is. You swipe and you're getting rejected. You don't even know it,
Oh, you
right?
know it. If you're on one of those, my friends who are on it, they know it because they get nobody that sends them a message. So they know they're getting rejected a lot.
So
If you're
they know they're
sitting there
getting, what was
swiping,
it? Swipe left is bad.
or whatever, yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever the swipe is bad. So, okay.
I was with you, Rod. I was with you, Roro, until you said this dating thing. And as I sit
Uh-uh.
here and watch my friends who are going through this, they have lost the ability, and I think Herb had said it, of having a conversation.
The
When
art of
we were
conversation.
younger, we would go to a party
Bingo.
or we would go to an event and we would have to literally embarrass ourselves to walk across the way, and everybody in the room knows which girl we were going to go talk to, and ask that girl
Yeah,
to
I remember that.
dance, and that girl would say no, and you would have to hold a straight face and come back to your boys as they're razzing you for doing that. but that built something up. Nowadays, if a girl tells them no, what are we seeing? These guys are killing them. These guys are, committing crimes because the girl said no. Bruh, pull up your pants and understand. But the dating and technology, totally different. And plus, we used to travel. What did our parents say? Get in the car. We're driving to visit your uncle. We're driving to visit your aunt. So we're hanging out. Go outside and play. And you met the girl who lived in that block. So you were sitting here like, hey, we can be pen pals. I can write you. You can visit me. But you actually had that interpersonal conversation versus now you live in Houston. Well, how about I fly you on here? I don't like you. Go back. It's the dating
There's a
scene.
whole lot of expense there for nothing. You don't even know.
Hey
I
man,
mean,
I'm
come
gonna
on.
let the facts speak for themselves. Okay, so at 25, we were all at. I think we're under that pressure. We have to find that one person in our small pool of people that we have, and you found that person. Divorce rates have gone way down from 95 to 2025 because you don't have that pressure anymore to get married. What they call it, slow dating, and all of those things that they're doing now. Before, I mean, anybody, we grew up around the 1995 era. Not getting personal, but anybody who's been divorced on this. Okay.
Oh, there's a story. Wait a minute. There's a
What's
story
my
there.
point?
There's a story there that we touched upon last week.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think we should ask the listeners, you tell us, would you rather be 25 and 95 or 2025? You tell us and give us
Mhm.
your thoughts on that. I would be interested to hear what you guys got to say.
Yeah, and I think it's an
It would
interesting
be
question.
interesting. But when you're sitting here talking about that situation, the one thing that we have to remember is what I think it was Pastor Holman at the high school that I went to. He pulled me aside and he's like, Fernando, you're going to have to learn about this dating situation. I was like, dude, I'm only 17. Okay. And he's like, it's an 80-20 rule where you give 80% and expect 20, and your mate is going to do the same. But then he also said something else after that, because of course I didn't pay attention to that until I was in my 20s, where I remembered what he said. He also said, everybody changes every 5 years. So you have to make sure to communicate to your mate to make sure you're on the same page. The
Mhm.
reason we're having divorces with the 35 and older is they got hitched or they got pregnant in their 20s. As an individual, they changed when they were 25. If they're not communicating with their mate, now they're on two totally different paths that all of a sudden, when they got to 35 or 40 years old, they're like, I'm sick and tired of you. You're not the same person as you were earlier when they first got started. So, and it doesn't make it bad, doesn't make it good. It just, are you communicating with your mate? Now we're in
Wait,
our
so you're
40s.
saying that the this generation lost a little bit of ability to communicate? Is that
Yeah,
kind of?
yeah.
That's why I
Because that's
said,
Hmm.
why we have
the
so
art
many
of art
divorces.
of communication.
Yeah.
You lose that. I'm not a great communicator. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But I can tell you, I peaked in the seventh grade when it came to dating. I dated two most popular girls in our class in the seventh grade, and then it was downhill ever since.
So then I'm gonna kind of put a bow on this. I still think 2025 has it easier. I think the numbers are showing that. I think where I think they will struggle is like the life lessons that you guys are expounding on, because it's if all the technology went down today, internet went down for weeks, would you rather be with those people that grew up in the 90s or the people today? So it's the lessons,
It
like you
would be
said, the
the older
lessons you
people,
learn.
because they knew how to have the art of conversation, and we knew how to figure stuff out without the technology before we got it.
Yeah.
Plug in. Come on, plug in.
But I think the funny part is like we're having this conversation, and the people who are 25 and 2025, they're going to be old school. They're going to have old school views like us. We're going to be ancient ones. But what would their what were their lessons that they would hold on and pass on to the next generation? Now, I'm curious to see, what they feel like they've learned having the ease of technology and some of the struggles that they went through. I mean, people did go through the whole pandemic stuff. So I think those are lessons that we can't lose
I mean, I
sight of.
I think, if you reversed it and it was the 25s trying to tell us something, most of it would be technology based about how they can do this and that and whatever.
Right. So is there a common thread then? Like, I mean, we're actually trying to compare two different generations, but we talk about this, the checklist is still the same. Like, how are you communicating with your friends? How are you communicating with your girlfriend? You're giving us
It's
good
just the
stories.
method,
And
the
yes,
method in which you're doing it. That's the only difference.
Oh no, the second difference is music.
yeah. Now, see, that's a topic for a whole nother day. Music,
Music
not the
from
same.
the 90s versus music in 2025, total difference.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean that's obvious, but I would go back further and still be in the late 70s and 80s.
Boy.
That's just my groove. It's just my groove.
And I would agree with that because there are some artists when I went to my iTunes today where I was looking at Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, from the R&B side, I was
Are
looking at
you
Earth,
you weren't
Wind and
digging in
Fire.
your albums?
Yeah, I was looking at Earth, Wind and
The
Fire. I was
vinyl?
looking at
We got
Bobby
some vinyl?
Womack. And yeah, not vinyl, iTunes. Yeah, no, that wasn't vinyl. But I was looking at my old school mix, and it was like Earth, Wind and Fire. It was like Isaac Hayes. It was like Bobby Womack. So I can understand and like some of those because my brother and my father used to play those all the time. So I was able to understand that. So I have no problem with the 70s, 80s.
But excuse me, but think about the people today, they didn't get our benefit. When you went to the store, you grabbed an album, you bought vinyl, and all of that went away with technology when it moved into the digital area and CDs and all this stuff, and now it's all streamed, and now vinyl's making a comeback. People are
That is a
investing in
valid point.
players again.
I
History
would put that
repeats
in your.
itself,
I'll put
and
that in your in
it's
the
coming back to us.
1990s and beyond.
It's coming back
Check
our
out
way. Yeah.
because I think remember the concept of B side, like a B side of a 45 record.
Prince.
Flip it over, dude, and you
Prince.
find the best records. Now you have to know what the song that's playing on the radio, and you get that. Before you had to buy a 45, flip it over, and the B side might be better than the A side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll
Like
give you on that one.
like Rush 2112.
Yeah.
You know.
Prince. Erotic City.
Yeah, it was a lot, a lot. I actually went to a concert and Prince just played B side stuff,
Yeah.
like all B side. That was pretty awesome. So I guess in wrapping up, I would say we all have the same problems. 2025, 1995. Like you said, technology, but it's easier, not easier from a standpoint of emotional, but it's easier from a standpoint of access than what we had. How would you summarize the comparison if you had to, Cov?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Technology's done a lot for from where we were back then.
He's stuck.
I'm stuck. You can ask anybody that knows me or people that work with me. I'm stuck in it. They talk about people that
You
are
probably
coming
got a
into
Zima right
town, and
now. You got a
I mean,
Zima right there.
people coming and talking that are playing in town that we're doing business with. And it's like, you're picking up for who? Who? Okay. I don't know half of these people that are talking about till somebody, from my age kind of comes rolling in and we have the same conversation,
Your
But
Uncle Buck. Don't worry about it. All the people that you work with know you as Uncle Buck. They're like,
Uncle
oh
Bob,
yeah, don't worry about it. He doesn't know it.
so-and-so's like, don't ask Neil. He's stuck in the 80s. And I'm
Uh,
okay with that. It was a great time to be alive.
You're only 38, so you got a couple more years to go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you summarize this conversation? What would you sum it up? Take us off the air.
Yeah, it's been yeah, again, it's an excellent conversation. It's like one of those things that our listeners I always ask the young people. Our generation that we were talking about who grew up in the 90s, we could list on our hand how many artists that has multiple singles, multiple songs, and multiple generations that we still listen to. And I always ask the young generation, here are our five. Tell me who would you listen to nowadays? And they can only come up with three.
Mm,
Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber. And I'm
That's
like,
true.
who else can you come up with? And
That's true.
they really can't. So to wrap this up, it's, we are now our uncles at the reunion and at the picnic. Our uncles used to come to us and tell us, hey, boy, y'all got it so great. And we'd be like, okay, we get it, but we didn't get it. And now we're at their age. We're trying to give wisdom to these younger kids, but we are now the uncles at the barbecue.
yes. Yes. And soon some of the younger folks will be the uncles. But right now we're the uncles. We'll take it, and we'll wrap this up. I think again we'll put in the comments what you think you would like to hear. We're all about giving old school wisdom. Try to put in a new flavor on it. But we will hit another episode. But in the meantime, make sure you look left, look right. Brothers Crossing. Good night.